Good evening, Mr. Poilievre. Welcome on the airwaves of Connect FM.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate being part of the show today.
You released your 100 Days of Change plan today. I'll give you, it is pretty impressive.
Yes.
Includes passing 3 omnibus bills on affordability, public safety, and economy. And it also includes a plan to call Donald Trump. Don't you think it is being released a little too late in the campaign?
No, not at all. Everything I announced today, I have announced over the course of the campaign. What I announced today is that I'm bundling it all up and passing it through within the first 100 days of the new parliament, and the first 100 days after the election is over, and that I'm canceling summer vacation until these bills are passed. In other words, I will require that we get the bills passed. We cut tax. There are 3 bills. One, it is going to be the Affordability for a Change Act.
Mm-hmm.
It will cut bureaucracy, wasteful spending, and income tax by 15%.
Yes.
It will axe the federal sales tax on new homes. It will pay municipalities to speed up permits for new affordable housing. Second, we're going to pass the Safety for a Change Act, a law that will repeal all the liberal catch and release bills. It will lock up criminals for life if they commit 3 violent offenses. Finally, we're going to pass the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act, which will require that we will repeal all the anti-energy and resource laws and cut taxes on investment, zero capital gains tax when you reinvest in Canada. All these things are going to be part of my first 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
We need real action, real change, because Canadians can't wait.
Mr. Poilievre, you have said multiple times during this campaign that newcomers who make this country their home are welcome to bring their values and traditions, but you want them to leave their foreign conflicts behind. So this begs the question, what is your stance on Khalistan vis-a-vis Canada's relationship with India?
My stance is Canada. Canada first. I want to stand up for this country. I believe that everyone who comes here should enjoy the Canadian promise. And I think we need this to be a safe country for everyone. You can have any opinion you want, any political opinion you want. But my view is that when you're in Canada, you should be safe. You should enjoy the freedoms of this country and be a Canadian first.
I want you to be candid. Were there moments during this campaign when you had second thoughts maybe about your decision not to take the top-level security clearance?
No. As I said during the debate, that would have silenced me. Right now, basically, we see that foreign interference continues, and if I had accepted a security clearance obligation, I would have had to silence my criticisms of the government. Mr. Carney failed to protect Canada when he learned that one of his candidates was threatening to send one of his political opponents to the Chinese government on a bounty that could have meant that person's life. And Mr. Carney did not fire that candidate. I think that's outrageous.
Mr. Poilievre.
So I've said, no, we need to defend. I need to be able to speak freely and criticize the government openly on matters of foreign interference, and I can't accept a confidentiality gag imposed by the Prime Minister.
Due respect, but that security clearance did not silence Jagmeet Singh or Mr. Blanchet.
Well, in fact, Mr. Blanchet said he was able to say much less after he took it than he could before. And Mr. Singh says only things the government wants said. So it's not very difficult for them. But I want to be able to speak freely, unhindered by the government's attempts to silence me.
Right.
And that is why I made the decision, and I stand by it.
Now, throughout this campaign, there have been some murmurs about candidate selection. For example, Mike DeYoung, who served as an MLA in BC for 30 years, he wanted to contest the federal election under your party's banner. Now he's having to run as an independent against your party's candidate because your party disqualified him. He was not capable enough, according to your party. That's what Mr. DeYoung says. He's now running again as an independent, and the outgoing Conservative MP, Mr. Ed Fast, he has endorsed him. Will you concede some mistakes were made in candidate selection during the campaign?
No, I won't. We have an excellent roster of candidates across the country, fantastic candidates, and they're going to bring change to the country. What Canadians need now is change, 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 change. We can't go on with the same Liberal government driving up your cost of living, driving up housing costs, driving crime into our streets. Only a Conservative government will bring the change so you can afford a home, so you can afford food, so that you can be safe in your streets, and our candidates will deliver that change.
Now, Corey Teneycke has been very critical of your campaign throughout. He is very certain that your campaign has misjudged the ballot question. Mr. Teneycke believes you have not focused enough on Donald Trump and his tariff threats.
Well, I'm not interested in what Mr. Teneycke thinks. I'm interested in what the Canadian people think. He doesn't want me to talk about affordability. He doesn't think it matters that single mothers can't afford food, or that 35-year-old couples can't afford a place to live, or that the crime rate is raging out of control, and that I should stop talking about those things. I'm not going to stop talking about them. People cannot afford to live in Canada. After the lost Liberal decade, life has become unaffordable, unsafe, and we can't risk a fourth Liberal term. We need a change so that our people people can work hard and enjoy a safe, affordable life. That is the decision in this election. Do you want 4 more years of rising crime and costs, or do you want change so that you can afford a safe and decent life in Canada again?
So now the Liberals, just like Mr. Teneycke, believe the real ballot question this time was Donald Trump and his tariff threat. Would it be safe to assume that, according to you, the real ballot question is change?
I think it is change. Yes, we need a change. Canadians need a change. Life has been getting worse and worse under 10 years of Liberals. And now they want 4 more years to keep raising your taxes, keep spending uncontrollably. You know, Mr. Carney put out a platform that includes $130 billion of additional spending above and beyond what Mr. Trudeau had already budgeted. Together, Trudeau's plan and Carney's promises will add $250 billion to our national debt, which will drive up your cost of food and housing. We can't afford 4 more years of this. We need a change, and only Conservatives will bring that change.
Scott Moe, he endorsed you this week, but Doug Ford and Tim Houston, they leave aside endorsement. They have not even supported you throughout this campaign. Do you think that can affect the final result on Monday?
No, I think that I'm focused on hardworking Canadians, the trucker, the nurse, the small businessman, the restaurant owner, the people, the young people just coming out of school who are desperate to afford food and housing. Those are the people that matter to me, and they need to change. I've also put forward practical solutions to the problems that afflict the country, with a Blue Seal professional standard, so immigrant doctors, nurses, engineers, architects can take a test, prove they're qualified, and get licensed working in our medical system and in other professions. This is a way to extend greater opportunity to all Canadians.
Mr. Poilievre, last evening in the evening show, we asked our listeners a hypothetical question. If they became the Prime Minister on Monday instead of Mr. Poilievre or Mr. Carney, what would their first decision be? We were able to take 16 calls. None of them said Donald Trump. It appears Mr. Teneycke's memo did not reach our listeners. They wanted to fix healthcare, they wanted to fix housing, they wanted to fix public safety. Now, the thing is, all of these issues, they fall largely under provincial jurisdiction. My question is, as Prime Minister, how will you lead on these issues where the federal government has limited jurisdiction?
Yes, no, and I agree with you. I think those are I partly agree with you. I agree with you. These are the issues, but I don't entirely agree that the federal government has no role in them. So let's start with public safety. The federal Liberal government has caused the problem with soft on crime laws that allow the same repeat violent offenders out on the street again and again and again. They have C-75, which is automatic bail for repeat offenders. And that is why in Vancouver, the police had to arrest the same 40 people 6,000 times. Well, you know, there's obvious solution to that. You have to keep them in jail. If someone's arrested, they've been convicted 4 or 5 times, we can't let them go free. So I'm saying I will amend the criminal code within the first 100 days to bring in a 3 strikes you're out law. This law will simply say, if you are convicted of 3 separate offenses, you go to jail for at least 10 years and as long as life. There will be no automatic bail, no house arrest. We will lock up the criminals for real, for a change. On affordability, it is the federal government's massive overspending and overtaxation, which is driving up the cost of living. And I'm going to fix that by cutting income tax 15%, cutting the federal government's bureaucracy and consultants by $55 billion. And finally, we're going to incentivize more home building by taking the GST off new homes, by paying municipalities to cut their development charges, to build 2.3 million new homes between now and 2030. This is how we're going to bring real change so people can afford a good life, afford homes, and live on a safe street.
Now, to make changes in the criminal code, you have said you'll be willing to use the notwithstanding clause. Now, that makes some advocates very nervous. How would you ensure them that you will not overuse this clause and using this clause is okay?
Yes. Well, listen, a couple of things I would say on that. I believe in protecting the constitutional rights of all Canadians, but especially law-abiding Canadians. So right now, this is the issue at stake that I want to use the notwithstanding clause for. The Supreme Court has said that a mass murderer should not have to serve multiple sentences. He should only have to serve one 25-year sentence. So there's a murderer. His name is Bissonnette out of Quebec. He killed 6 people. And the Supreme Court said he only has to serve a minimum of 25 years. So he could get out of jail in his 50s. He killed 6 people. That's not right. He will only have served 4 years for every person he murdered. What about the constitutional rights of those victims?
But don't you think...
I would use the notwithstanding clause, which is in the Constitution, by the way. It's not going around the Constitution. It's in the Constitution to say mass murderers should serve consecutive sentences so that this man will never get out of jail.
But don't you think such an interference in judiciary by legislature, it erodes Canadians' interest, the trust in judiciary?
I think rulings like the one I just described erode Canadians' trust. Let's to be clear, I'm not proposing to interfere. I'm proposing to use a legitimate section of the Canadian Charter of Rights, which was created exactly for circumstances like this one.
Right.
We have. It's not like I'm trying to, go in and upset the apple cart. The Constitution says you can use the notwithstanding clause to overturn rulings that are not in line with the other rights that Canadians have. Section 7 guarantees you, sir, life, liberty, and security of the person. You have that right. I want to protect your constitutional right to be safe and secure, and that requires we lock up the worst criminals to protect you.
Mr. Poilievre, just a couple of more questions and then I'll let you go. There are reports of leaked internal polling in Ottawa Carleton. Critics say you are nervous about your own riding. That's why you've chosen to end your campaign with a rally there. Are you concerned? What does your internal polling say?
It says that Canadians want change, and that includes in the riding that the people of Carleton want change in the federal government. They want to bring home a new government that will provide for an affordable life on safe streets, and that we're not going to get that with a 4th Liberal term. We bring the Liberals back, whether it's in Carleton or for the whole of Canada, then we're going to be it's going to be more crime, a rising cost of living, and a declining economy. We've seen this movie. We've seen 3 episodes of this show. Why would we want a 4th?
Now, we've seen a general pull towards the political right among all parties during this campaign. The result is that the party platforms, all of them, now they look pretty similar. Nearly, I would say, plagiarized. Less than 3 days before Canadians go to polls. What would be your elevator pitch to our listeners, many of whom are still undecided?
Well, I would ask who you believe. I mean, Mr. Carney wants you to believe that he's someone different than he was even 4 weeks ago. I've been saying exactly the same thing for 10 years. I've been saying that we needed to cut the bureaucracy and the taxes to bring down the cost of living. I've said for years we need to remove the gatekeepers to build more homes more quickly for our youth. For years, I've been saying we need to lock up the violent criminals to keep our streets safe. For years. So, are you going to believe the guys who do one thing for a decade and then promise the opposite on the eve of the election, or are you going to stand with the person who said the same thing the entire time? Look, we need a change. Electing the Liberals to a fourth term is only going to mean more costs and more crime. We can't risk it. Let's choose a new, brighter, optimistic, hopeful future with a Conservative government.
Mr. Poilievre, thank you very much for your time on this busy campaign evening, and I wish you all the very best for Monday.
It's a pleasure. Many blessings. Bye now.
Bye-bye.